And this is on our Discord. If you're not a member of our Discord, come in now. We're talking about a bunch of other stocks, but today we're going to be focusing on this tweet from Amit. Amit is legit. 2022 CEO letter from Alex Karp. The purpose of reading this, I mean, I was going to read this anyway. I saw that Amit posted that. I started reading it. I'm like, okay, it's interesting. And I mean, I respect Amit. And I respect Tom Nash, and these are two guys that I respect that are really bullish on this. And I'm like, why don't I see this? Let me read his letter. And
because you're rational.
We probably will have some critiques, I'm not gonna lie, but this is literally just to start a conversation. The whole thing. One, there's a couple of parts here. I think there's 5 parts here. One, our existence has always been improbable.
That's why I sold it.
Tom did it all. Our existence has always been improbable. We founded the company to build software for defense and intelligence agencies whose budgets were larger than the economies of some countries. They had the personnel and the funding, but not the software that they needed to do their jobs. The incumbents that dominated the industry had tens of thousands of employees and essentially unlimited resources. We had about 5 people and an idea for a product. Our business has changed since then. We have grown significantly over the past 2 decades and helped to create an entire category of software development, one whose full potential we believe is still becoming apparent. The strength and continued survival of every large organization in the world requires the implementation of software platforms that are capable of enabling both the technical and non-technical workforces to model and make sense of the world in which we live. I'm following along so far. Every large organization in every industry and sector in the world is becoming a software company, willingly or otherwise. There are no goods or services or government today without software. Okay? As a result, the demand for software platforms that allow an institution to harness the productive capacity of its human capital and whose value persists and compounds over time has never been greater. We have built those platforms, as well as the hundreds of component products that make them work. In the 20th century, moats may have existed protecting the markets and profits of certain companies and industries from erosion by competition. In this century, we believe that the only moat is software. Okay? Software is ubiquitous and essential. Its underlying code is also completely and literally illegible to all but the smallest sliver of the population. We believe that the construction of something lasting and substantial requires some degree of insulation and protection from the outside world. Too much insulation and the result risks being overly specific and ornate, of interest and value to its creator but no one else. Too little and the result is a product that the market thinks it wants but does not need. Most software companies are either uninterested in producing or unable to produce products that address the fundamental needs of a large institution. The investment required is too high. The potential payoff is too uncertain. As a result, the market builds products that lend themselves to commodification in the present, but such products do little over the long term to address the underlying challenges of the organizations they purport to serve. The problems that we seek to address are not small. The construction of a software platform that consists of hundreds of component parts for the purpose of metabolizing tens of thousands of tables of data, some of which have billions of rows each, present enormous technical challenges. And the effective adoption and implementation of such a platform at an organization that may have dozens of separate divisions and hundreds of thousands of people presents further challenges. The management of data across different countries and legal regimes adds additional complexity. A commitment to the development and refinement of an idea over the long term is required in order to build something significant that is and will continue to be of value. Okay, I feel like you only need.
So he's still trying to explain us in this part the same thing, that software is important. I mean, this is fine. 1 and 2. What do you think?
I think 1 and 2 could have been 1 paragraph each. I think this part right here is all you needed from this part. He's taking us the scenic route.
What he's doing is, I think at the end of the day, a positive thing, by the way. But it's like, I don't know who he's talking to. I have no idea who he's reaching out to. It's definitely not to me.
I actually think some of it is because we come from the film production background. Like, time is money. Be really efficient. I just need an answer. How much are you going to make? What are your gross margins? That's a number. It's not a paragraph. It's a number.
Why are you going to win this?
Yeah. Number 3, a misalignment exists between the producers and consumers of software. The software industry today has become an extractive enterprise. Most of the largest consumer internet companies in Silicon Valley have built software products whose principal value is that they enable the efficient extraction and monetization of our personal information. Spot on.
We'll stop there for a second. We're talking about Facebook. We're talking about Google.
TikTok.
Right.
Apple,
any of those companies that Snapchat, all those companies.
We are the product for sale, not the software, which itself is often thin. Most understand and have perhaps resigned themselves to the arrangement at this point. Our inner lives are for sale. It's also increasingly clear that the value of such software, which is essentially parasitic and constructed for the purpose of monetizing a host, can be ephemeral and fragile. The construction of a more efficient platform for the distribution of consumer advertising was never our ambition, and we have declined to build our business on the back of monetizing data that is not ours and we do not own. The decision led us to focus on the nature and value of the software itself that we are building rather than what it consumes. The distinction is significant and is the source of our alignment with our customers. The value that our software creates in the world is a result of the software itself, not the information or data of those who use it. And that alignment is in turn the source of everything we have built. Okay, every example that I've gotten from people about what Palantir does is it allows you to parse a bunch of data and give you information that allows you to take action. I don't know how that's much different from advertising.
A company who's using Palantir, by the way, let's say Home Depot, who was using it, their point is to sell you something at the end of the day. Let's face it. He's just saying, we're not Google. Our money is not advertising. We're not trying to monetize you.
Right.
But where's the point where, how do I make money with you, sir?
Right.
I'm sorry, Meta worked out for even, let's say, even if it's tanking now, for 10 years, you would have made a fortune.
But to be fair, if you were buying Google and you were buying Facebook back then where you made the fortune, you were buying it without the knowledge of what it's become today. So in a sense, it was just as speculative or as risky as something like Palantir would be today.
If he wants me to be aligned with his mission, just like Elon, I'm aligned with his mission, but you also have to make some money. I like what you're doing, Palantir and Karp. I don't want you to sell my data, but I want you to make some money.
I think he's trying to make a moral case for buying Palantir, but Palantir is not a company that I would buy for the moral case. Virgin Galactic, which I did for the moral case, for wanting to support that. I would buy Palantir because, like Tom says, the numbers speak for themselves. Well, to use your Home Depot analogy, say Home Depot does use Palantir software, right? They're not using their software to serve ads. It's not about ads.
If let's say Home Depot is tracking all the foot traffic and how many pieces of lumber are going out, but that's still monetizing it. And
that's my point. You're still monetizing it. You're calling one thing bad and the other thing not. Like you're saying it's bad to monetize, to serve people ads because that's not fair. That's their data, blah, blah, blah. But what's the difference if you're still making money off the data?
Yeah, well, I'm in agreement with Karp in his letter. And this is a philosophical thing, though, that yes, monetizing us as people, and you agree with this, that's why you don't like Meta.
Yeah.
That monetizing us is worse than monetizing how much wood I sell.
At the end of the day, is it not the same thing? Please comment below or join our Discord and explain. This is seriously, we're not trying to like shit on the company. I'm trying to figure out why people are so bullish on it. I still don't see it.
It's so hard for me to believe the story. Like, especially Karp, he can never tell me the actual story. And now we're reading his letter.
Very, very frustrated by not being able to get a direct answer.
He has a technical product at the end of the day. He should be able to explain it technically and explain how we're going to make money with it and why we're better. So guys, don't forget, like and subscribe. We have all this great stuff coming up. We have an interview with Mark Frommeyer, and we also have one with Dave from We Build San Diego hitting real soon. So you're not going to want to miss those. Hit the bell, hit the like and subscribe.
Back to the video. We have views and defend them. The decision to act on something even approximating principle or actual belief is a radical one in the corporate world, given the current tendency in public life to eliminate any possibility of provocation and consequently any opportunity for genuine discourse or original thought. We will not back down from defending those who defend us. That's a myth. The relationship between this country's governing elite and the military, whose existence is a precondition for the power of the ruling class, is unfortunately complex. An increasing divergence exists between the interests of the American ruling class and those of the public. The governing elite simply does not bear the cost of our nation's defense. We are not ambivalent about the side we have chosen when it comes to supporting the defense of the United States. Everything we have accomplished and everything we have built has been made possible by the country in which our company was founded. The extent of American outperformance in fostering a culture of productive insurgency when it comes to the construction and remaking of businesses is difficult to overstate. We are witnessing firsthand the singular ability of American institutions to adapt to the restructuring of our economy as a result of the advance and adoption of enterprise software that has converted nominally non-technical workforces across industries into engineers. The recent and significant expansion of our business in the United States reflects the maturation and refinement of our software platforms, but also the fundamental plasticity of this country's organizational structure. He spends 99% of the time talking about the why, and as investors, we want to know the how. How are you doing that? How on a daily basis?
Nuts and bolts, baby.
How
Nuts
are
and
you
bolts.
doing it?
Even though I'm getting Elon's philosophy that we're trying to save the world and transition to sustainable energy, I feel at the end of the day, I'm getting some numbers to see how Tesla's going to grow and make me money.
Part 5, a commitment to the defense of a nation that rises above the ordinary gestures and theater of our present political life often requires difficult choices and trade-offs. Most of their money comes from the government, but it sounds like he has a real disdain for like government organizations. And we understand that all technology, including ours, is dangerous and that software can be used as a weapon. Lives have been saved and taken as a result of the software products we have built.
Lives have been taken from the software that we have built. As far as I'm concerned, Google
died.
has taken no lives selling ads. Who's more evil now?
I know, but if you get me going there, we're going to start talking about Meta. I'm going to start bringing up some charts, and we're going to be fighting on this.
I was just bringing up Google, but all right.
Most companies in Silicon Valley attempt to obscure or deny the existence of the exceedingly difficult questions that arise as a consequence of building novel forms of technology that enable defense and intelligence agencies to conduct their operations and target terrorists. The technocratic elite in Silicon Valley may believe that most or all of the world's significant moral and political questions have been resolved, that the divergent views of a broader public may be dismissed as inconvenient and unconsidered notes of dissent. We disagree. The constraints that some of the largest technology companies in the world attempt to impose on our public discourse risk compromising their ability to remain disruptive, or else consign them to a disruptive world in which they alone live. At the end of the day, for me, I still don't see the how. How are you?
Well, he's not going to tell you any of that. He doesn't know how.
Okay, and our final part here.
We're going to get a lot of hate. Guys, you can leave all your comments, and if you want to come on the Discord and discuss where I'm wrong and where Carlos is wrong, fine, we will discuss.
Tell me how. Part 6. A fortunate union exists between our business and moral objectives. Other companies engage in elaborate efforts to distract from the lack of social value their underlying businesses create. I mean, I have
shitting on Google. Fine.
I have to agree. I have to agree with that. Okay, I have to agree with that. But most attempts at such marketing are both ineffective and transparent. We believe the public is largely uninterested in such theater from either its business or political leaders. The American public may be forgiving of the instinctive self-regard and self-promotion of those in power, but only to the extent the underlying system and republic deliver results and advance the general interest. We build software to ensure the survival of our most vital institutions, and we succeed only if and when those institutions do. He's too far out there for me. Like, listen, you know me. I'm the guy that will make the moral argument more often than you in that case, right? I skew a little bit more that way. Even a guy like me, I need some sort of like solid footing to be able to make the moral case, right? Because on the flip side, the intermingling of the moral and the financial side of it is what bothers me about a company like Meta, because I can see the connection between the moral, or you could say immoral part of it, and the financial benefits, right? I can't see this connection in Palantir. So it's one of two things. Either he's purposefully going over your head to avoid being really vague, which is what he accused other companies of doing, or he just doesn't know. But either one is a red flag.
We're doing our due diligence. I sound like I'm on the company for the sake of shitting on it. No, I own the shares. I did believe in the story for 10 minutes, mostly when Kathy would believe in it, I'll be honest. But as I learned more and more, I wasn't becoming more bullish. I was actually becoming more bearish, which is a bad sign. You start to understand less when you learn more about something.
Yeah. All right, so this is the updated one, May 9, 2022. Part 1. Our company and the world are at an inflection point. The movement of history is often discontinuous, and the absence of global conflict for more than half a century has left only a generation or two that remember total war. A global pandemic and war in Europe have now conspired to shatter our collective illusions of stability and perpetual peace. The world significantly underestimates the threat of nuclear conflict in Eastern Europe. The understandable desire to intervene must be targeted and strategic, balanced against the risk of further escalation. There is a path to the right outcome in Europe, but we must be unrelenting in our focus on increasing both the probability of a peaceful resolution over the long term, as well as the number of overlapping and redundant pathways towards such a settlement. The war is itself a protracted negotiation with a heavily armed opponent. One must, in domestic politics and foreign affairs alike, inhabit the mind and aims of an adversary in order to prevail over the long term. Even if everything you said is right, why are you, like, if Steve Jobs went up there and started talking about this stuff, they would say, dude, just make phones.
So we're now reading the second letter, and I still see the same problem that he's trying to school us about what's going on in the world when, like, software is eating the world was the first letter. Fine, yes, Google sucks, blah, blah, blah. This one is like, okay, we're in the middle of a war and it's dangerous. Yes. Okay, now tell me how you're going to make money. It's still the same question.
So we'll see. Let's see if he gets to that in part 2. A resistance to complexity in our moral or aesthetic lives should make us wary. Theodore Adorno rightly remained skeptical of those who are intolerant of ambiguity, where such ambiguity is that which ignites thought.
Does any investor need to read this? No. Maybe I'm not smart enough, and Alex Karp is showing me that I am not smart enough, and I can't invest in Palantir because I will never understand this company.
Like, here's the thing: you can, if you're going to use a quote to set it up, which is a popular technique, right? You set up a quote by someone famous, and then you get to the part where you apply it to today.
Well, let's see. Maybe he applies it. Okay, there you go.
We are a company driven by ideas, and an openness to engagement with the other, to understanding the opposition, is a precondition for genuine thought and creativity. We built a company on the premise that the construction of something of consequence requires relentless exposure to unpopular and dissenting opinions. Oh, sounds a little bit like Elon Musk and Twitter. A willingness to engage in honest and open inquiry about the inherent risks of building new technology is essential, but a genuine discourse in this country has all but withered, in significant part because so few are either willing or able to say what they actually think. I'm on board here. The most pernicious consequence of attempts to restrict expression is often the self-imposed restriction, not only on expression but thought itself. Those searching for free expression used to seek refuge in and turn to established institutions for protection. The unaligned, however, now seem to be the most free. Okay, this is the most on board with what I've seen, but and I get this, but this is a conversation about social media, about Twitter, censorship, and political parties causing people to self-censor. I get that, but how does this relate to your company selling software to governments?
I feel like he doesn't know what he does. I feel like he when he writes this, he doesn't know what he does.
Yeah, I am really struggling to understand how they get to this point where a retail investor, this is the question I had for Tom Nash. What is the point? What is the catalyst? What is that moment where people suddenly wake up to what this company does and go, oh my God, we've been getting this company all wrong. Money starts piling in. And Karp is one of the most famous and successful CEOs ever. I am not seeing it, man.
I feel like if Karp is moved aside, he might be good with these higher execs in the government section. Maybe he should be in charge of that and not the CEO of a company pushing a message that people don't seem to agree with.
Leave a comment below. If Karp stepped down, who is fit to run this company? Who is the person that we could? I mean, Badri.
Who's second in command?
I was going to say Badri from Enphase would give you the.
Let's not lose Badri.
No, but he could do two things at once. If Elon could do it, he could run this company.
No. I don't want to lose Badri to Palantir.
But you get my point. Like with Badri, he would almost be too far in the other direction. Comment below. Who would you put at the helm of this? Like what, maybe we do this as a poll. Maybe we actually do this as a poll and ask people who should be running Palantir. We're now in part 3. Some of the largest companies in Silicon Valley are focused on building software for intricate and elaborate alternate realities. This is an attack on Facebook.
I know, but why do you got to keep, we get it. You don't like him.
What I'm saying is there must be a point. That was an attack on Facebook. Some of the largest companies in Silicon Valley are focused on building software for intricate and elaborate alternate realities, virtual realities. The idiosyncratic interests and personal projects of technocratic elites in the United States are essentially a distraction from the very real conflicts that we collectively face. Such escapism is of no interest to us. We at Palantir do not operate in the metaverse. There are enough challenges to address in this one. Okay. And it is instability, not its absence, that makes our software all the more essential. Our company is built for the world that is, not the world that ought to be.
So that's fine. He set up that the metaverse is dog poop and we live in the real world.
I think he's saying that these Silicon Valley companies, specifically Facebook, are setting up an alternate reality as a distraction. It's a distraction.
Yeah, that's fine, but then where is your solution? Like, and by the way, not one number anywhere. This could be
part 4. Our business is a rare amalgam from an investing perspective that blends aspects of both value and growth. We combine the resilience of the defense industry sector with the growth of a software company. We have spent years building software products and platforms that are capable of mechanizing the integration and analysis of data across large organizations. Such software now powers the operations of many of the world's leading industrial companies, along with defense and intelligence agencies, as well as public health organizations in the United States and its allies.
Well, I just want you to stop there. That is the only, the first paragraph.
I'm seeing it. I'm all right. I'm getting on board. I'm seeing it.
This is the first paragraph out of those 2 letters where, okay, you do something.
Value, yes, you're getting value. We're getting to it. Okay, I'm getting bullish here. Along the way, we have created one of the most significant and differentiated technology companies on the planet. Palantir has grown since its founding, in large part because of our willingness to look inward and examine our interior self. Okay.
I think he's lost me.
Hey, he's starting to lose me.
He's
Okay. Our software itself continues to evolve. We remain open to building and delivering products that our customers are focused on in the present to win the right to build products that they do not yet know are essential to their survival.
We remain open to building and delivering products that our customers are focused on in the present to win the right to build products that they do not yet know are essential to their survival. So that's a lot of hubris to say that they don't know what they need. We know what they need, and we're going to tell them.
But is he saying that? No, I don't think he's saying that.
It feels like he is.
He's not saying we know better. He's just saying we're giving you tools that will help you do things that you couldn't have known otherwise. I don't
That
think
they do not yet know are essential to their survival.
Right, but that okay, to put it in a mechanical sense, that's like me saying I build hammers. I build physical hammers. This hammer will enable you to do things that you don't even know yet. I don't think he's saying like we're going to show you what those products are. He's saying, but if you use our software, it's going to give you insight that will open up new possibilities that you didn't know possible. That's how I take that. He's building a better hammer.
Okay, maybe. It doesn't come off that way to me, but yeah, I'll leave that open to interpretation.
Okay, our sustained commitment to our partners in the United States and its allies, which some thought was a liability at times, is driving our ability to acquire new customers around the world. Hold on. I'm going to have this guy read this sentence because I can't read it.
I'm just saying, when your investor base has to go look for
to build both products that the market understands today and those we believe that the exigencies of our world require.
But he's saying build both products that the market understands today. The market does not understand this. Someone needs to tell him that the market does not understand.
Well, let's go up to
Look,
that
there's numbers.
That...
There's numbers. Okay.
Okay, hold on. Before you get there, but the paragraph that he started talking about what they sort of do, and then he took a right turn and just totally left that. It never actually completed how they're better.
Yeah.
Number 5.
I'm struggling. I'm really struggling. Okay, part 5. We see some numbers. This is our moment. The growth of our commercial business in the United States continues to accelerate. We see a path to double U.S. commercial revenue for the 3rd year in a row, growing to $400 million this year. Last quarter, our U.S. commercial business grew 136% year over year, accelerating for the 5th consecutive quarter. Great. The strength of our...
Wait, before you go on. This paragraph should have been the first paragraph.
In the other letter.
Give me the nuts and bolts of what's going on and why you're good and how much you're making, what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then take me through your journey of like why it's important.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like this.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's like a way you could, just a structure thing.
I do like this paragraph a lot.
I do. I like it too. Okay. The strength of our commercial business in the United States, where we have seen an increasing adoption of Foundry across sectors, is a sign of the strength that we believe we can anticipate globally in the near term. We have made progress in productizing our existing offerings and developing new ones. As a result, we have begun to turn a corner with regard to customer acquisition. The number of customers who are using our software platforms has continued to increase, with our customer count nearly doubling over the last year. The strength of our business in bearish conditions is due in part to the unrelenting and growing demand for functional and adaptive enterprise software, which has become essential to every large organization that exists. I love this paragraph.
This end of the letter is important, and I wonder how many investors didn't even get to this part.
It's very difficult, but I really like this paragraph. It's clear. It gives me numbers, and I like the numbers. His analysis of it is making sense. Okay, I think we're at the... No, we got more in this one. Okay.
Just tell us why you're better than all these other players in the AI field. Like,
I'm just going to speculate. I feel like the argument that he's making is the same argument that Elon is making with FSD. They just have such a long runway. They have such a lead in terms of the data that an AI startup right now is going to... You can't skip that part. They have a 10-year track record. They've been doing this forever. And that's a valid point. But I don't know enough about how those businesses work. And I don't know enough about what makes your company different to be able to give you the credit for that. And again, I haven't heard him say that. I'm speculating that. Our most recent effort to expand our sales team continues both in the United States and around the world, but a tension persists between a customer's understanding of their needs today and our view of what they will need tomorrow. We must overcome a fundamental challenge. It is our instinctive pursuit of solving the hardest problems our customers face that sometimes causes us to undervalue what they may need in the short term. We have also historically had what might be characterized as an antagonist relationship with some of the IT organizations that exist within our customers. This is changing and must continue to do so. The building of such coalitions with internal procurement organizations has begun to move from the exception to the rule.
This guy feels like, first of all, there's an antagonistic relationship with your customers in the IT base. It doesn't sound great. Like,
no, but
you're admitting something.
But I can speak to that. What he's talking about there is that IT organizations within companies are very resistant to change because they can only guarantee results with workflows and software and equipment that they know, right? So it introduces a variable. Those IT guys in those companies don't like variables because it's their job on the line. So I don't think it's necessarily negative. That is actually true. And I just see that even in the companies that I work with.
Anyway, I don't mind him saying that we have problems to overcome. I actually don't mind that.
I'm liking this. This is more along the lines of what I was hoping for. We also see further opportunities to decompose our platforms so that an increasingly broad and diverse group of customers using our software have access to the specific component products they need from the start. Okay. Our 3 principal platforms. Here we go. Oh yeah, look. Gotham, Foundry, and Apollo are composed of hundreds of component parts, any one of which we believe could have a market in the thousands or tens of thousands of large enterprises. We are shifting our approach to expedite the development of these individual products in order to serve even broader swaths of the market. Our plans for Apollo are also ambitious. We built a platform to maintain our own software deployments on a continuous basis and with as little human intervention as possible. What was once an internal set of tools has today grown into a mature and highly differentiated software platform with the potential to serve entire sectors and industries across the commercial and government markets. This is the playbook for how Frame.io started, and it was incredibly successful. Emery from Frame.io, or at the time it was, what was the name of the company? Katabatic, built Frame.io. And if you don't know what it, Frame.io is an online tool that services the television and motion picture industry. But they built that software to fix problems that they had internally and then offered it to the public. It's worth a ton of money. I think they're at a $50 billion valuation.
You know, now that you've read more of the letter, this is better than the February letter.
Oh yeah, way
Step
better.
one. And number 2, the last 2 paragraphs actually had some meat on the bone.
Palantir remains a fundamentally creative enterprise. It will remain so if we protect the culture that built it. Our success continues to rely on the recruitment and retention of unconventional talent. Our organizational and operational culture remains one of the most differentiated and unique among technology companies in the world today. We have the opportunity to find and develop the next generation of leaders who think and act like the enterprise owners they are. Our culture depends on trusting in the outsized productivity of these individuals over the long term. We have spent nearly 2 decades preparing for this moment. This is our time, and we intend to seize it. While I'm reading that, I'm reminded of Tesla AI Day. Even if a lot of what was being said at AI Day goes over your head, while they're talking, you know the specific type of person that they're looking for, right? So if this is sort of some sort of an open call to bring in talent, I still can't tell what the talent is that they're looking for. Are you looking for data analysts? Are you looking, when you say creative thinkers, what are you looking for? What is that person studying in school that's going to come out and say, I want to work at Palantir? I don't understand these things.
His vision of the future might be very negative, Karps. Like the world is dog poop and we're saving you. That's the vision.
Okay.
When Elon talks is like, we're trying to go to Mars, we're building cool cars, we're building robots. Like, it's just like, you see what I'm saying? Like, one is a positive forward-looking future and one is like a dystopia. I feel like Karp is actually talking about a dystopia.
I can't agree or disagree with you because I don't know. The last major pivot by Elon Musk was this bot. Like, no one considered it. Nobody was asking for it. When he announced this to everybody, he walked you through why you should care. He's like, what is money? Money, at the end of the day, is distilled labor. Well, is there a limit to the American economy? He's asking questions of you that make you think. And he goes, well, the next evolution of this, if the economy is basically distilled labor, what happens if you have basically infinite labor? You have an infinitely growing economy. He's making the dots and he's making it really easy to connect to it. And now I go, oh man, I'm really bullish on this bot in one conversation.
If Karp said, look, we work with robotics companies and engineering, we make it possible for them to analyze all of the data coming in to make it more efficient and better. You are helping build a brighter, better future. Robots,
we're making government institutions more efficient with your tax dollars, which
he can relate it to us in a way that.
Right.
Imagine having to listen to him in a meeting every day.
This is what I'm saying. If this is how it is when you have an all hands meeting and you need numbers, you're like, oh, this thing is failing. How do we fix it? And he's like, did you ever read Nietzsche? You're like, hey, man, listen, dude, just give me the numbers, man.
What do you think about Sartre?
It's like, come on, man. If you like this video, hit like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, join us on the Discord, join us on the Patreon. We are really trying to get more information about this company. If you're a Palantir bull, leave your comments below. And anything that we've said, or join the Discord. And seriously, let's have a conversation about this.
Obviously, I want you guys to leave your comments and join our Discord and have a real discussion with us. That's what I make clear. That let's have a real discussion, because at the end of the day, if you can keep showing me evidence and I'm going to keep taking it, I'm going to keep learning, I do want to change my mind. I want to believe that this is going to work out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That is the point of this. It is about trying to get education.
Maybe it's Code Strap. Maybe that's the guy we have to
Maybe
talk
we
to.
got to go after. Maybe we got to go down and sit down and talk to him. But what I wanted to leave us with is a video that I just watch every once in a while. I did post this on the Discord. It's another CEO, very popular, very famous CEO, being asked a very difficult question. It encompasses both technical as well as like the moral, non-technical answer.
What about OpenDoc?
What about OpenDoc?
Yeah.
Yeah. What about it? It's dead, right? It's dead, right? Well, you know, let me say something this sort of generic. I know some of you spend a lot of time working on stuff that we put a bullet in the head of. I apologize. I feel your pain. But Apple suffered for several years from lousy engineering management. I have to say it. And there were people that were going off in 18 different directions, doing arguably interesting things in each one of them. Good engineers, lousy management. And what happened was, you look at the farm that's been created with all these different animals going in different directions, and it doesn't add up. The total is less than the sum of the parts. And so we had to decide, what are the fundamental directions we're going in, and what makes sense and what doesn't. And there were a bunch of things that didn't. And microcosmically, they might have made sense. Macrocosmically, they made no sense. And, you know, the hardest thing is, when you think about focusing, right, you think, well, focusing is saying yes. No. Focusing is about saying no. No, no, no. And when you say no, you piss off people. And they go talk to the San Jose Mercury, and they write a shitty article about you. You know? And it's really a pisser, because you want to be nice. You don't want to tell the San Jose Mercury, the person that's telling you this, you know, just was asked to leave, or this or that or this or that. So you take the lumps. And Apple's been taking their share of lumps for the last 6 months in a very unfair way. And it's been taking them, you know, like an adult. And I'm proud of that. And there's more to come, I'm sure. There'll be stories like that come and go. But focus is about saying no. And the result of that focus is going to be some really great products where the total is much greater than the sum of the parts.
The reason why I wanted to show that is because that was a tough question. Steve Jobs was saying that from a place of like his moral beliefs, his core beliefs. And he's projecting that onto the company, but he's also explaining it in a way that is easily digestible and funny, to the point where like the guy actually had a laugh about it.
He's literally destroying what that guy did, and that guy's laughing about it. He's like happy almost.
Right, he's happy.
Steve Jobs knows how to sell you a message that you're like, you know what? He might be right in this.
You don't always understand the decisions that a company is making, but I think it's really important for the CEO to be able to explain to the public and to the investors why you're making the decisions, and then make projections about the benefits to that you can then be held accountable for.
At the end of the day, Steve Jobs was a brilliant marketer, right? He's not a brilliant engineer. Well, let's bring it to Karp. If he's not a brilliant engineer and he's not a brilliant marketer, what is he selling?
What is he good at? I can see some of the allure of somebody like Karp. He can say these things that can stir up the nobility in a person. But at the end of the day, I'm putting in like money that I need my kid to take out for her to go to college. And like, I can't pay that in your philosophy. Doesn't it seem so like damn obvious what an amazing CEO this guy was? This is part of what I feel is happening with Elon Musk, focusing on buying Twitter, and everyone's like, no, no, no. This is like the same thing about you saying when the consensus is too great about Netflix, there's something we could be missing, right? And like,
oh, I'm sure of it.
And so I'm just like, this could be the same thing where like maybe long after Elon Musk is gone, people will look back at this moment in time and see the genius of it. And the people that believed in it will benefit from that. And maybe it won't be for 10 or 20 years even, where we truly see the benefit of the decisions he's making today, just like Steve Jobs. These guys are like generational CEOs, man.
Yeah. To compare Elon Musk to Steve Jobs, Elon Musk has the technical brain, the engineering side, but it has terrible speech and not great marketing in terms of like selling with his words.
He's good at selling. He's good at selling. You can't say he's not.
Well, no, at the end of the day, it's good because he's saying such valuable things and he knows so much about the thing that's where the benefit comes in. It's like Woz. When Woz talks, I listen to him for the technical side. Yeah. And Steve Jobs for the marketing side of it. But when I relate it to Karp, he's not very technical. He doesn't really, he says a number once and we get happy. Like, so he doesn't do that.
But it was a good number. 136% growth year over year is not bad.
And the marketing thing, he's so bad at the marketing. It's like ridiculous how bad he is. I feel like me and you are better at marketing Palantir than he is.
I think you're saying the word marketing when what you mean is vision. It's not marketing.
I think he has a vision. I think he has the vision.
Karp is trying to transmit a vision. In the same way that Steve Jobs was really good at a vision. And in that sense, I would say Elon Musk is really good at having a vision.
Just the way he conveys the message, The reason you listen to his message with all those ums, ahs, pauses, and everything is because it's such a good message.
Yeah, he's not as articulate, but when you get to the end of it, it's worth it.
Yeah. Hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe. Join the Patreon. Do the Discord. We love you.
Hit the bell to get notified when our interview with Mark Fronmeyer goes live and when our interview with David from We Build San Diego, a solar installer, goes live. We got a lot coming up for you. We'll see you on the next one.
Peace.